Welcome to a deep dive.
Hey there.
So today we're looking at this stack of material you sent over. 17 different X posts, right? And the context around them.
Yeah, quite the collection. All trending recently, covering, well, just about everything.
Tech, business, politics, culture, lifestyle stuff. It's all in there.
A real snapshot of the online conversation.
So our job here is basically to quickly unpack it all, pull out the interesting bits, figure out the buzz, and maybe what's really going on underneath.
Cut through the noise, basically. Give you the distilled version of today's vibe.
Exactly. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. Kicking things off with tech and some big news from Tesla.
Right. Posts from both at Elon Musk and the main at Tesla account. Musk posted about testing self-driving Model Ys.
Yeah, and the key thing, no one in the driver's seat.
On public streets in Austin.
For several days, he said. And no incidents reported in those tests.
And the context we have says this is actually happening about a month ahead of their internal schedule.
Wow, okay. Had a schedule. And the plan now, apparently, is the first factory-to-customer self-delivery next month.
The car drives itself to the buyer.
That's the idea. A pretty significant practical step, if it happens.
Then the @Tesla account just tweeted one word. Robotaxi.
Right. Signals that accelerated push. This whole thing is framed as a major move for autonomous vehicle adoption overall, lining up with market growth forecasts.
But it's not quite that simple, is it? The context adds layers.
Definitely not. This Austin test itself seems like a strategic shift from Musk. They apparently geofenced earlier tests to safer zones. These public street tests are different, though the context mentions a paranoid approach. Remote monitoring, adapting after, previous safety issues. It's a change from his earlier stance against those kinds of limits.
Okay, so adapting the strategy. What about regulators?
Still a big factor. NHTSA, the highway traffic safety folks, reportedly asked Tesla specifically about handling bad weather for the robotaxi service.
Oh, yeah. Always a tough one for self-driving.
And the source suggests Tesla might have less public data on that compared to competitors like Waymo.
Yeah.
So, scrutiny there.
And there's a business angle to making noise right now, too.
Oh, absolutely. The context cites Forbes suggesting these tests are great for generating buzz, especially needed since Tesla's EV sales dropped, 13% in Q1?
Right, so boost investor confidence, excite the public.
Exactly. And, the context also brings up Musk's history, setting ambitious timelines for full autonomy that, haven't always panned out as planned.
So the takeaway isn't just driverless cars tested. It's this mix of tech progress, strategic shifts, regulatory hurdles, and clear business pressure. A lot going on behind that single robotaxi tweet.
Precisely. Okay, sticking with tech, but moving to AI. Particularly AI for coding.
Yeah, saw the post from @JohnRushix. He updated his review of AI coding agents and IDEs.
And the number is huge now, 46 of them.
46, that's way up from his last list, isn't it?
Massively. Really shows the explosion in this space. And the trend he's pointing to is these agentic AI systems.
Agentic.
Means they're designed for more complex stuff, like full stack development, building whole applications, front end and back end, often using multiple AI agents working together.
So less like a fancy autocomplete.
More like aiming for a mini development team in software form. That's the direction.
Interesting. And it's not just for pro coders anymore.
Right. His list includes tools like Grok Studio from XAI. Canva Code suggests it's expanding, helping non-coders prototype or build simpler things without deep coding knowledge.
AI is everywhere, even making presentations now. Saw at Manus AI HQ launched Manus slides.
Yep. The idea is you give it a prompt, just natural language, and it creates a whole structured presentation.
Instantly. That could save hours.
Yeah.
Days, maybe.
That's the pitch. Visually appealing, structured, information-rich. Part of that broader trend of AI assisting content creation, writing images, now this.
And then there's Perplexity AI stepping things up, too. At Perplexity AI and the CEO at Aerofsrenivis announced Perplexity Labs.
Right. This is for their pro users.
Yeah.
And it's explicitly for much, much more complex tasks than your standard AI query.
Like what? The examples were pretty impressive.
Yeah. Things like building trading strategies, creating dynamic data dashboards, headless browsing for real estate research.
Headless browsing, like automating web data gathering without opening a browser window.
Exactly. Even building mini web apps or storyboards. It combines coding, that headless browsing, design elements.
Okay, so really integrating different capabilities.
The context mentioned pulling financial reports, doing deep analysis, creating integrated dashboards and charts, way beyond just spitting out links or summaries.
And the claim is it cuts down task time massively.
From days to minutes, potentially. That's the value proposition. And it lands right as Perplexity's valuation just jumped, reportedly to $9 billion. So lots of confidence in this integrated AI platform direction.
Okay, efficiency seems key across these tech trends. Let's switch tracks now. Business and economy. Saw a post from @TypesFast Ryan Peterson about tariffs.
Yeah, he was sharing a customs lawyer's take. The lawyer thinks the government appeal against that ruling, blocking most of the Trump-era tariffs. Probably going to fail.
And if the original ruling holds?
Could mean big refunds for businesses on tariffs they already paid. The court basically said the tariffs went beyond presidential power under IEPA.
The International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
Right. Some specific tariffs, like steel, weren't hit by this ruling, but the broader ones were.
That would have ripples economically.
That's for sure. The source mentioned South Korea's effective tariff rate could drop significantly, and Peterson even asked about a betting market like Kalshi for the outcome. Shows that trend of using prediction markets for policy stuff.
Interesting. Then there was a much funnier economic take from @DrunkToFan.
Ah, yes. Linking a celebrity selling, was it bathwater soap?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Linking that to a call for Jerome Powell to do an emergency 500 basis point rate hike.
Just casually hike rates by 5% because of soap. Pure satire.
Right.
The context explains it's about that ridiculous contrast. Trivial marketing stunt versus massive economic policy. It's poking fun at market overreactions, maybe, and that online economic chatter that can get pretty wild.
Highlighting the gap between hype and actual Federal Reserve decision-making. And the timing worked, too, with Powell talking about economic uncertainty recently. Okay, now shifting into a more complex area, politics, agency claims. We need to be super clear here. We're just reporting on what these sources posted and the context provided, not endorsing any claims.
Absolutely critical. We're just relaying the information and context from the material you shared so you understand what's being discussed online from these specific sources.
Okay, so first, @CharlieKirk11 posted, quoting FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, claiming discovery of Comey-era documents.
Yeah, the claim is these documents were apparently hidden intentionally from new leadership. Bongino's quote was something like, "We found it in bags, hiding under Jim Comey's FBI."
Strong words. What's the context provided?
It links this to those ongoing public concerns about FBI integrity during Comey's time, especially around 2016. And it mentions the current director, Kash Patel, and his push for declassification. So the context frames this claim as fitting into that existing narrative and gaining traction because of it.
Got it. Then another post referencing Bongino from @LeadingReport. This one about Jeffrey Epstein.
Claiming a video will be released showing Epstein was alone in his cell when he died.
Okay, that taps right into all the controversy and theories around his death.
Exactly. The context reminds us about the camera issues, the security failures, all the things that fueled skepticism about the official suicide ruling back in 2019.
So how is this claim about a new video being received based on the source material?
With significant skepticism, according to the context. Replies question why it would surface now, after years of reports about camera problems, concerns about manipulation, AI fakes, basically a lot of public distrust reflected in the reactions described in the source.
Again, just reporting the claim and the reaction. It shows how these things instantly connect to deeper public mistrust.
Definitely. Okay, moving to posts connected to the Trump administration. @CB Doge posted that image of Elon Musk saluting.
Yeah, captioned, "Thank you, Elon Musk, for your service."
The context explains this refers to Musk's temporary stint as a senior advisor. In the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, under President Trump back in early 2025.
And his focus there, according to the source,
Was identifying government waste. They cite a figure of $160 billion and cutting inefficiencies. Mention targeting DEI programs, wasteful contracts specifically.
How did that go down, according to the context?
Very polarized response, as you'd expect. Praised by some for pushing efficiency, criticized by others for his impact and targets. Apparently drew some scrutiny from European leaders, too. The post reflects that whole contentious dynamic around his political involvement.
Okay. And then Benny Johnson highlighted Monica Crowley, newly sworn in as Ambassador and Chief of Protocol.
Yes, quoting her addressing President Trump directly, saying he saw the forgotten men and women, said, "I see you, I hear you, and I will be your champion."
That's language tied very closely to a specific political narrative.
It is. The context links it right to the America First theme. Notes that it was celebrated by Trump supporters. It also mentions her background, past plagiarism issues, commentator role framing the appointment, in the source's view, as reflecting a focus on loyalty.
Okay, let's pivot now. Lighter stuff. Culture, lifestyle, viral moments. That at Pictures Foider Video.
Oh, that was great. Partner looking for the other one. Finds them asleep outside on the patio.
On the night vision camera. It was funny, but also kind of sweet.
Totally relatable human moment. The context frames it around care and concern in relationships, even in funny, unexpected ways.
And it even cited research.
Yeah, mentioned a study showing how caregiving acts, even small ones, strengthen bonds, and noted, kind of incidentally, how the night vision itself shows how common home security tech has become.
From caring for others to self-care. At Brian Johnson's sleep rules.
Right. His rules for optimal sleep. No intense exercise 6 hours before bed, last meal more than 4 hours before, and no caffeine or alcohol 6 hours before either.
Is that backed up by science?
The context cites research supporting it. Nature Communications on exercise timing, the Sleep Foundation on caffeine and alcohol disrupting sleep.
Makes sense.
It also had an interesting note that sometimes the combined effect of caffeine and alcohol might feel like they cancel out, but that can apparently lead to dependency cycles trying to manage sleep. It all fits his whole blueprint, data-driven health thing.
Okay. Switching gears again. Movies.
Yeah.
At Tom Cruise reflecting on Mission Impossible.
Yeah, nearly 30 years. He posted a cool behind-the-scenes photo from the first movie.
The iconic CIA vault scene. Him hanging from the wires.
Exactly. Context highlights he did the stunt himself. You can even see the clapperboard in the photo, 120A, confirming the shot and location. Posted on the 29th anniversary, looking towards the big three then.
Classic. From movie action to sports action, at Ben Stiller.
Just that, all caps, KKKNNNN.
He's a huge Knicks fan, right? What was going on?
Almost certainly reacting to a big moment in their playoff series against the Pacers, which is a rematch from last year when the Pacers knocked them out.
Ah, okay. High stakes then. And the Knicks have been clutch lately.
Yeah, context mentions their strong record in close games recently, and Jalen Brunson being called the NBA's most clutch player this season. So lots of fan energy in tight playoff situations.
Makes sense for that kind of post. Okay, last one. Bitty cultural humor at the Premiergen.
Asking for tips, tongue-in-cheek tips, on how to make sure everyone in Europe knows you're American and better.
Playing right into those stereotypes.
Totally. The context points that out. Americans perceived as loud, maybe insensitive, abroad, especially in Europe.
And the replies played along.
Oh, yeah. Exaggerated suggestions, wear lots of flags, talk really loud and slow. The source frames it as social media amplifying these U.S.-Europe cultural tropes, often for laughs.
Maybe touching on real friction points, too.
Right. Context mentioned examples from replies like Europeans not liking being called just Europe or differences over tipping. Even reference a travel research study on cross-cultural misunderstandings.
So looking back across all 17, wow. We went from driverless cars in Austin and AI building apps.
Through tariff debates, bathwater economics, serious political claims, and skepticism around them.
To finding your partner to sleep outside, sleep hacks, movie milestones, sports fanaticism, and jokes about cultural stereotypes.
It really hammers home the incredible, almost jarring variety of things grabbing attention online all at once.
Tracking this buzz, this daily vibe across all these different areas, it gives you a real-time map of collective focus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What people are talking about, reacting to.
Tech progress, political narratives, shared human moments, cultural jabs. It's all swirling together.
It really shows how fast our attention can shift online. From something deeply technical or politically charged 1 minute
to a funny video or a health tip the next.
Which leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How does consuming this constant, diverse stream of information, from tech breakthroughs to political fights to pop culture, shape how we actually see the world?
Yeah, and how quickly do those online vibes really change? What does this daily mix tell us about what we collectively prioritize, or at least what grabs our attention day to day?
Good questions to chew on. Thanks again for sending over all these sources for us to dive into.
My pleasure. Always interesting to see the mix.
That wraps up this deep dive.
Yeah.